I'm Scott Starbuck from the San Bernardino League of Women Voters, and I'm presenting Proposition 19, which is the changes in property tax rules. This is a fairly complicated proposition, so please bear with me and bear in mind I am not a professional anything. Okay, the changes in property rules, which is a constitutional amendment to the state of California's Constitution. And it asks the voters, should the California Constitution be changed to modify the rules for transferring property tax assessed values and use any resulting new tax revenues for fire suppression efforts, schools, and local government? The background, okay. This all stems from Proposition 13. Proposition 13 set initial tax assessments on property tax values in 1975. Annual tax increases are limited to 2% a year. Property taxes are limited to 1% of the assessed value plus any voter-approved local taxes. When a home is sold, the property is reassessed at the current market value. And because most properties gain more value than 2% a year, most properties are below market value. Currently, some homeowners under 65 or have a severe disability or have had their property impacted by a natural disaster are allowed a once in a lifetime transfer of their home's taxable value to a different home of less or equal value within 10 counties in the state of California. Inherited property allows some transfer of property without resetting the taxable values. For example, when an adult or a child or a grandchild inherits principal residences of the grandparents, the heirs, they inherit the original owner's lower tax assessment. Proposition 19 would allow eligible homeowners to transfer a property's taxable value to a more expensive home anywhere in California. Once in a lifetime transfer would still apply to wildfire and natural disaster victims. Proposition 19 would eliminate the transfer of taxable values on inherited property unless the property heirs live in the property or the property is a farm. Owner-occupied inherited properties with market values of $1 million will receive an upward tax assessment on that $1 million value. And that's allowing for an adjusted inflation after February 16th of 2023. So if you have a property that's assessed over $1 million, you're going to have an increased assessment. And the Proposition 19 allows for this use of this increased tax revenue in a statewide fire suppression efforts and to reimburse counties' costs for these fire efforts. The fiscal effect will probably yield local governments tens of millions of dollars, and it would increase to hundreds of millions of dollars over time. The transferring of lower property taxes could reduce some local property taxes, but the revenue increases overall expected to be tens of millions and reaching hundreds of millions of dollars each year. The cost to the state for administering this is expected to be in the tens of millions of dollars each year. There would be some cost savings with the lowering of the matched school funding, and this savings would go to fire suppression. Supporters of Proposition 19 say that it would free up the seniors who are stuck in oversized homes, thereby freezing and freeing up the housing market and closing the inheritance tax loophole. This proposition is sponsored by the California Association of Realtors, the California Professional Firefighters, and the California Nurses Association. Opponents to Proposition 19 say it is a giveaway to realtors who are twisting policy to boost their sales and commissions. The California Constitution has already been amended 3 times to protect the rights of families who want to pass their home and up to $1 million in other property to their heirs without changing the Proposition 13 tax assessment. Reassessments to market value would force families to sell their properties. It is opposed by the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. In closing, the League of Women Voters presents the pros and cons in a nonpartisan, impartial manner. However, the League has studies in depth on these issues and has taken a position on several of the propositions. If you want to know the League's position on this or any other proposition, go to the state website at www.lwvc.org. Thank you for listening.